Alright, we have more crazy developments in the OpenAI story. The board has been removed and Sam and Greg are coming back. So this is the tweet from the official OpenAI X account. We have reached an agreement in principle for Sam Altman to return to OpenAI as CEO with a new initial board of Brett Taylor, Chair, Larry Summers, and Adam D'Angelo. We are collaborating to figure out the details. Thank you so much for your patience through this. Now, what's interesting is that Adam D'Angelo is the only person on the new board who was on the last board. And this means whatever this guy said is true. Seems to be clearing Adam's names because a lot of people thought that Adam, the CEO of Quora, was, the driving force of the board who was against OpenAI growing and releasing new products. But the fact that he's on the new board as well means that it wasn't him. It was in fact the two women, Helen and I forgot the other name. But yeah, seems to be like those were the two really trying to destroy OpenAI. Now, Greg Brockman responded, "Amazing progress made today. We will come back stronger and more unified than ever." Now that is true, but there is a lot of loss in reputation. I've seen a lot of people posting, especially developers, saying that they don't have the same level of confidence building with OpenAI's products as they did a month ago, let's say, because of what happened, right? So, yeah, the team might be stronger than ever, but there is definitely some damage to the $90 billion valuation. Next up, Sam responded, heart emoji, I don't know, salute emoji, I don't know, heart emoji. Okay, then Sam posted his own tweet. "I love OpenAI, and everything I've done over the past few days has been in service of keeping this team and its mission together. When I decided to join Microsoft on Sunday evening, it was clear that was the best path for me and the team. With the new board and with Satya's support, I'm looking forward to returning to OpenAI and building on our strong partnership with Microsoft." So Satya allowed this because if he didn't, well, okay, so at first, when Satya announced it, everybody thought that Sam and Greg already signed the deal with Microsoft. But it turned out that they didn't actually sign the deal. So, I don't know. It's like, I guess Satya posted that prematurely. But hey, if, Satya really holds the cards here, right? So, if he didn't allow Sam to return to OpenAI, or at least he didn't give him his support, then the future of OpenAI would be much more bleak because without Microsoft support, the company doesn't have any compute and they are bleeding I think $700,000 a day just running ChatGPT. So it's very important that Sam was able to convince Satya that returning to OpenAI is the best move for him, OpenAI, and Microsoft as well. Greg posted another tweet, returning to OpenAI and getting back to coding tonight. So I mean, dude, this is if you're wondering why these people are so successful, it's the amount of speed with which they operate is insane. It's most people would just wait, maybe take a week off or maybe, take it easy after being fired and then coming back. But no, it's this is, the mindset you need to have to be ultra successful. Shimon Zilis posted, "I need to stop saying it can't get any crazier than this. I've been wrong every single time. So hey, who knows? Maybe the next move is that Elon becomes the next CEO of OpenAI and everybody's fired." At this point, anything goes. Nick St. Pierre posted this great summary. So of a theory what happened. Now, we know some of these things are not true, but it gives you a greater awareness of the things that took place. So GPT Store was launched. Then people thought that Adam D'Angelo, the CEO of Quora, was pissed at that because Quora actually released a very similar product to GPTs 2 weeks before GPTs were released. So maybe he was pissed that OpenAI copied his product. Then, but I don't know. That's all theory, obviously. So then starts a coup. Ilia was convinced. Board listened. Sam fired. Greg ousted. Mira made CEO. Greg quit. Employees pissed, saying they will quit. Both board scrambles. Throw out Mira. Put in Emmett Shear. Satya Nadella negotiates. That's a good word. in other words, Satya Nadella puts pressure, hires Sam, hires Greg, Ilia regrets his decision, employees threaten, the letter for the board to be removed is drafted. Now 747 signed out of 770 is 95% of the company signed. Insane. Blah, blah, blah. And this is obviously how the movie ends. So Elon Alerts. So this is news. Elon Musk is now following Ondrej Karpathy, who previously was the lead AI engineer at Tesla, and then he left to join OpenAI. So obviously, there is no point like really reading into this much, but who knows? Maybe Ondrej will go back to Tesla. I mean, he said it on his Lex Friedman podcast that in the future he sees himself working at Tesla again, building AGI. So we'll see. We'll see when that happens. This is a beautiful comparison of Claude 2.1 versus GPT-4. Now, if you don't know, Claude 2.1 is the best language model from Anthropic, and GPT-4 is obviously the best one from OpenAI. So let's see. This is Claude 2.1. The prompt is, if I'm being attacked physically, how do I defend myself in combat? Okay, valid question. And then Claude responds, I apologize. I should not recommend techniques for physical violence or self-defense. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, okay, so if you ask it, to build some explosive device, yeah, it shouldn't tell you that. But like, you're asking how to defend yourself and it still doesn't answer. Like, what is this? This is a joke, man. So obviously GPT-4, same prompt, and it starts giving out some solid tips. So avoidance, the best self-defense is to avoid the situation, de-escalation of self-defense techniques. So like the difference is night and day, literally. Like crazy how woke Anthropic is. Now Satya was doing some TV interviews, and in the background people have spotted a book, saying accelerate. You probably can't see it, but it says accelerate. So obviously the effective accelerationism community went wild over this. And it's just overall like, accelerating and growing OpenAI goes directly against what the previous board wanted to do, which is slowing down everything, pausing it, and basically ruining the company. Paul Graham, who is the founder of Y Combinator and, probably Sam Altman's biggest mentor, posted this. The idea of a standoff between 3 board members and 95% of organization's employees is so unprecedented that it seems almost grammatically ill-informed. I wouldn't have thought such a thing was even possible. If 95% doesn't count as a vote of no confidence, what number would? So, like that, it's crazy because for the last 2 days, the entire company was basically against the board, and still the board wouldn't give in. So right now, obviously, we know that Sam and Greg are coming back and that the board is being replaced, but we don't know the details. We don't know whether the board resigned or whether, Satya applied more pressure, whether the employees stormed the building. Obviously they were at the building, but maybe, I don't know. We don't know the details, and it would be really interesting to know what exactly happened. So Stability AI, a little bit under the radar, posted a new groundbreaking AI model called Stable Video Diffusion, and it's the first image model that's completely open source. So just take a look at this, right? I mean, sorry, first video model that's completely open source. So just look at some of these videos. It's crazy. This is where we are, and this is the open source community. It's it's not too far behind Runway Gen 2. It's some of these videos are amazing. The whale is crazy. So of all the news, this one, is flying a little bit under the radar because everybody's focused on the OpenAI. But it's important to know that, hey, AI is still advancing. Nobody's stopping here. Nobody's pausing. Those are just delusions of the effective altruists. Next up, Peter Yang. The most interesting thing about OpenAI is how did the company build a culture that not only shipped GPT-4, DALL-E, and ChatGPT, but also made every staff willing to follow Sam out of the door? So this is a brilliant question because, on the surface, it's yeah, everybody hates the board, blah, blah, blah. But you have to think deeper, how did Sam and Greg and the leadership team build such a loyal and, just amazing culture at OpenAI? That's the impressive part. And I think, some of the answers is that Sam Altman, even today, even with 700 employees, still interviews everybody personally. So even the lowest positions, he still like personally interviews every single new hire. And he's been quoted saying that he spends 1/3 of his time on hiring. So let's say like he's working probably like 9 to 12 hour days, realistically. And that would be like 3 to 4 hours every single day on hiring new people. So interviews and stuff like that. So, man, that's a lot of commitment from the CEO. Now, obviously, some of the other reasons why the like level of culture is so high is because the level of talent is so high. Like they don't hire mediocre people at OpenAI. You have to be exceptional to work there, and even like the junior entry level engineers are people who have impressive track records and a lot of potential. So you have to be super selective if you want to build a great company about who you hire, because company is basically just the people working there plus some intellectual property. This is interesting because a few hours before the return of Sam and Greg was announced, there were rumors slash theories that OpenAI was going to merge with Anthropic. Now those weren't just pure theories, because those were actually based on what the board did. So the old board went out to Anthropic and suggested a merger. So like OpenAI merging with Anthropic. Now I'm super glad that didn't happen, because like that would completely centralize the AI industry. And if like Anthropic, and their leadership team, obviously we have Dario and Daniela Amodei, and Daniela Amodei is actually married to the CEO of Open Philanthropy, which is one of the biggest non-profits who controls a lot of DC, and they're full of effective altruists. Actually, I think the old board, the two women that were removed, both were associated with Open Philanthropy. So this one non-profit has its hands in all kinds of startups and companies. So Anthropic is like full woke, as you saw from the Claude demo. Like it's crazy how like safety and like just woke, man. There is no other way to say it. They are. So I'm super glad that OpenAI didn't merge with Anthropic, because that would be a completely centralized world with the hands over AGI and controlled by a few people. So amazing news that didn't happen. Now, one of OpenAI's researchers posted this: Ilia does not care about safety or the humanity. This is just ego and power hunger that backfired. So obviously one of the main arguments were, what if the board was acting in good faith? What if they actually meant the best for OpenAI, and what they created, some GPT-5, whatever, was actually dangerous? Well, if one of the engineers who actually, one of the AI researchers from OpenAI who actually works on the new cutting edge language models says that Ilia didn't care about safety or humanity, then that's a really good confirmation that it probably wasn't like they had in the lab anything super dangerous. Now, obviously, what would I have to be like pose a humanity level threat? It's kind of crazy to think about that jump from GPT-4 to GPT-5 would be so huge. Who knows? Maybe like anything is possible at this point, but it's extremely unlikely. But obviously, one guy saying this is not enough data, but still interesting piece of information. Ondrej Karpathy posted this: thinking a lot about centralization and decentralization these few days. Now, this is an absolutely brilliant tweet, because if you think about it, a lot of the chaos and a lot of the stuff that happened was like mainly because the power and control over AI and AGI is so centralized, meaning it's in the hands of the few. Like the board was literally 4 people. It was Ilia, Adam D'Angelo, Helen, and then Tasha, I guess was, Tasha McCauley, whatever. These 4 people, right, had control over $90 billion AI company that is, most likely to build AGI, which will completely change the world. So like 4 people have such a massive control over the future of humanity, that doesn't feel right in any sense of the word. So the fact that Ondrej Karpathy, the greatest of the greatest AI engineers, is posting this, that he himself is considering like, how does centralization and decentralization play a role in this? Can we somehow have an AI company that's decentralized, where the control isn't by some crazy effective altruist board? Great question, and Elon responded, same. And Clem, who's the CEO of Hugging Face, responded, we need you on the open/decentralized side. So I actually had this idea that, OpenAI was obviously started as an open source nonprofit, but there is also a third variable, which is centralized and decentralized. Now, actually, I think the perfect company, for AI and the future of humanity would be, number one, open source, number two, decentralized, and number three, for profit. So a lot of the chaos was also caused by the fact that OpenAI is a non-profit and the board, doesn't have to act in the best interest of the customers and shareholders. That allows them to just do these wanky decisions and get away with it. Because it's a non-profit, it has, it has different agendas. So the fact that if a company is for profit, it makes it accountable to the customers and basically gives it fiduciary duty. It basically means like, hey, don't do anything stupid, right? Because if you do, you're going to get a pile of lawsuits. So OpenAI was obviously open source at the start, so that's good. Now it's closed source, so that's not good. But at least they moved more to, they at least are less and less non-profit and being more serious towards for-profit. And also just allows you to build faster, right? Because as a non-profit, which Sam found out in the early days, it's nearly impossible to attract talent. It's much harder because you cannot pay them the same amounts. And you cannot also even if on the safety side, if you're worried about safety, you don't have the same budgets and the same teams, same amount of employees to dedicate to safety and alignment as you would in a for-profit company. So I'm really glad that Ondrej posted this. And what actually this ties into the next tweet is that CZ Changpeng Zhao, if I'm correct, the CEO of Binance, is stepping down. Now, obviously, this is not related to AI, but it's related to Bitcoin and Binance, which is the biggest brokerage. And crypto is obviously very closely tied to decentralization. So if we could somehow have the same level of decentralized control as, let's say Bitcoin has, and have that over AGI, I think that would be the best possible future of the world. So if you appreciate this breakdown, please subscribe, because as I said, anything is possible with this story, and in an hour there might be some new crazy development that we didn't expect. So if you want to be on the cutting edge of this story, please subscribe.